Please be advised that this open meeting is being broadcast live and recorded by WRPS for playback on demand within 24 hours of this event at WRPSRockland.com. Thank you. Attending tonight's meeting, Walter Simmons, Chuck Hessian, Dave Taylor, Robin Day, Eric Shoemaker, Project Manager for McKenzie Engineering Group, Stacy Callahan, WRPS, Chris Bernica. Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 2, present new moratorium conditions.
Walter, I asked to put that on. I didn't know where it should last. If you had any more conditions you want to think of, I've got a few, but we might as well wait to a new board. I didn't know if you had any more you wanted to add or.
No.
Okay, the one we just tabled after the next meeting.
Okay. Number 3, Dyer Street, proposed development. Dave?
In all fairness, Walter, I didn't get a chance to look at those prints. I'll try to pick a copy up tomorrow.
Okay.
Excuse me, commissioners, did you have to make a vote to table that other item, or is it okay to just table it?
I think we got to make a vote. I make a motion, we table the new moratorium conditions to the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So you want to go over the Dyer Street? Bradley, did you want to present that, the Dyer Street project, or Eric?
We'll let Eric present.
Yes, I can screen share. Eric Shoemaker, McKenzie Engineering. Do you mind if I screen share a set of the plans so we can all follow along?
No, go.
I'd like it. Like I said, I haven't seen them, so.
All right, so this is the proposed development at Dyer Street. We're proposing 2 multifamily buildings and 2 duplexes. We're currently going through the site plan review process with the planning board, and one of the comments that we still need to address and why we're here in front of you today is documentation of adequate sewer capacity for the development. So I'll flip to the utility plan. As you can see, we're proposing an 8-inch PVC sewer main on Dyer Street and coring into the existing manhole on Dyer Street. And that sewer main will service both the 2 duplexes as well as the multifamily buildings. I also provided some wastewater calculations based on the number of bedrooms for this proposed development, taking into account the duplexes and the multifamily. So it's a total for the entire development. So we predict 4,730 gallons per day. And like I mentioned before, we're just looking to get some documentation that there's adequate capacity out there in the sewer system for this development.
Well, probably the best I could say is with that amount, I really don't see a problem but I wouldn't vote to approve it tonight till I can look at the plan. But at 40, would you say 4,300?
Yeah.
4730.
Yep, 4,730.
So that'd be what, about 50,000 on the 1101. 47 should impact, but like I said, I just want a chance to look at the prints.
Okay.
On that too, I can go over the developmental fee. So those are 16 units times 7,500 a unit, 120,000 in developmental fees. 16 units times 100 for sewer tie-in permits, $1,600. The number of bedrooms, 43, like Eric made reference to, 4730 on the total gallons. Price per gallon, $20 for the remediation and I&I removal was $94,600.
It have 43 bedrooms will be a not to exceed, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then also on that, Chuck, if you remember, this is a multi-unit development. We did pass that for commissioners, that sewer ordinance about 4 months back, about the capabilities of the wipes and grinder stations
Yep.
ordinance. So that could be your pleasure as well on that.
Yeah, you know,
recommendation.
I saw something and I wanted to talk to you about that later on, at just a sidebar. I saw something in the ordinances for a grinder, but no, I'm glad you brought that up.
That was voted on, you guys voted on that about 4 months ago, that I brought that up. That was pertaining to the Lydia Square
Yep.
development, in case there was a second building.
Yep.
But that is in play on a multi-unit development, anything over multi-residential, multi-commercial, high development, where you think there might be an area where we think it might be applicable, so.
Okay.
So what's your pleasure, commissioners?
Like I said, I really tentatively don't see a problem with that gallonage. I'd like not to vote to approve it till I can just physically look at the plan, do a touchy-feely myself. But, you know, as far as off the shoulder, I don't think 4,300 would be a problem. Rick, do you? Rick Katouche?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't, it's like 44,730 gallons. That won't be an issue at the wastewater plant.
What is that serviced by? That's not Spruce.
That comes down South Douglas, comes down eventually onto North Ave down to.
Okay, yeah.
You remember Union Street on that end does have sewer on that end, and then it doesn't as you get to North Ave.
Yeah, okay. Are you guys in a rush to get that approved? Or if, like I said, I could get down there tomorrow, go over the plans.
I think if we had a letter within the next couple of weeks, that'd be great.
Okay, I gotta come down with a check to Robin anyway tomorrow, so I'll swing in. And get down there probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock to look at them, and then I can touch base with Walter if you want.
Great, appreciate it. And then if in the letter you could also verify the fees. I know we just talked about the fees, but if the fee structure could be also put in the letter, that'd be helpful, so the client would know.
Riley, we'll have that in writing for you. That'll be all documented for the pickup.
Great.
Dave, is there, maybe this isn't the time, but is there another development going down there too?
That's the only thing I've heard of, up near Dyer Street.
Yeah, Dyer Street comes off of South Douglas. What's the one that's just past Dyer? The street.
Just past it?
Yeah,
Terrell Drive?
I thought there was another one going up there. Okay, no, just like I said, it's just, I got about 5 different projects going on.
No, we got a couple on Hingham Street. This is the only other thing that I have Form K'd off right now.
All right,
So your pleasure. Walter, did you want to make a vote or that we'll table this and then till everybody sees the plans, and then you guys could do a letter of recommendation?
yeah, I just want to look at the plans, Walter. I got no problem. I don't see any problem with it.
Okay,
4,300 gallons.
4730.
you
47.
want to still table that, Chuck?
Yeah,
So you-
could wait till, why don't we say we'll table it for 2 weeks? And
Okay.
I'll give us time to get down there. And that you'll still be on by then, so you and I can agree over the phone.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table that for next couple of weeks.
I'll
I
second
will-
that.
Pardon?
Yeah. I'll forward the commissioners the fee schedule, and then so you guys have that also to vote on.
Dave, you got a hard copy of this plan down there?
There's a hard copy, yes, in the conference room.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So we'll just, so Eric and Bradley, so I guess we'll table this. The commissioners will get that letter over to you within a few weeks. They'll make on the documents that you guys need, and we'll get you the fee schedule.
Terrific. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay,
Take care. Thanks for your
Thanks for
time.
your time.
All right, number 4, comprehensive study update. Ratepayers.
Yep, I'm gonna share my screen with you in a minute here. How do you do this? Okay, share screen. Is that up?
Not yet.
The hell with it. Have you guys seen the letter from Wright Pierce?
Yes.
All right, there's nothing new on the executive summary. A couple things I wanted to point out. I think it'd be good if we could meet on it. The conclusion and recommendations. One, the reliable service since the early 80s. I think that has to be 1960s. 2, furthermore, the existing wastewater infrastructure, tanks, electrical, have not been addressed since the 77 upgrade and in desperate need of improvements. The only thing I questioned that was Rick or Dave, have we had the town engineer inspected look at that electrical?
No, we have that tentatively set up for next week with the electrical inspectors, so they're gonna come down and look at some of the areas, so moving forward.
Hey, Rick, is anybody from Suez inspection gonna be down there for that?
No, probably not. But just while you're actually talking about this, Chuck, just to let you know, Ed and I had a conversation, actually about almost a 2-hour Teams call today on the Wright Pierce assessment study.
Yeah.
And Suez is, we're working on this, and there's a lot of things in it that, and we like that, actually, Suez would like to have a meeting with the town, you know, and do a presentation on the whole thing and come up with their ideas on the draft. So hopefully we're looking for doing that probably sometime towards the end of April.
Are they challenging the report?
There's some things in there that, you know, that we know the cost of it, and there's some things that Ed and I feel, and we're actually getting the backing from corporate, that they kind of agree with us regarding the digester. And there's some things we could probably eliminate.
Oh, no. As far as the digester and all that, I'm not,
Yeah.
what I'm getting at, I have my questions on the digester as well. Ed and I have had
Yep.
conversations on that. I'm looking at, because they're saying somewhere in this to abandon it.
Yes.
And I'm looking at that, that's a hell of an asset to just
Yes.
pack up and let go.
Yeah. In
But
fact,
no, I want it, but as far as that, I would rather do it this way. I'd rather Wright Pierce finalize their report than if you want to take exception to challenge it, or have a joint meeting with Suez and Wright Pierce. I'd have no problem with
yeah,
that.
I think that's probably something we would like to do.
All right, then why don't we table that discussion till again
Next
to the next meeting, because we're going to have a new board in.
Yep.
They're going to be wanting to take a look at it and be brought up to speed, I'm sure. You're going to have a new
Absolutely.
superintendent hopefully by then. So why don't we plan on a joint meeting? Sooner the better, as far as I'm concerned, because I'd like to get our discussions out of the way before the town meeting.
Mhm.
So why don't we shoot for the middle of April for a sit down with Suez and Wright Pierce?
That sounds like a great idea.
And that sounds like it's going to be another all day.
Well, hopefully not.
All right. The other thing is that on the other thing I didn't take exception to it. When I wrote that scope of work, I gave them like a 5 to 8 year window for construction of that. They've got down a 2-year construction schedule starting in 24. I don't think the town financially is ready for that impact quite right now. Well, and while we're discussing it, we know it's going to be a $50 million project. I think a lot of that, I think we could piecemeal. I don't know how it came up to a 2-year schedule out of what we wrote. But no, I think a joint meeting would be good because although I agree with a lot of their assessment on the physical equipment. When I'm looking at what they're, how do I phrase this? Recommending for process changes, I have some questions. I mean, that digester took me by surprise, to be honest with you, because we've put some serious money into that puppy.
Yeah, and as do we, Suez, as your contract operator, we have some concerns with the draft. And like you said, it's a good idea. I think we all sit down and we just take our time with this, you know, and don't make any rush decisions.
Oh, no. Understand, this is just,
Yep.
You know what it was? This is like getting a second opinion on a doctor, right? We wanted an assessment of what this facility is capable of doing and where we are. You know, we got one opinion. There's 50 ways to skin a cat. So, you know, no, let's, by all means, you guys should have a say in this. I mean, you know, it's not, nothing is cut in stone. Like I said, it was an opinion, one engineering firm. I liked it one way because it was in a firm that's never been in the plant before. So it was a fresh set of eyes.
I agree.
No, by all means, you know, and if they have a rough draft, I'd like to see what their rough draft would look at before that meeting.
Yep. I will.
So we're not blindsided.
Yep. Absolutely.
And what I don't want is a, I don't know, it's not a hostile, I'd like it more like a working environment, swapping of ideas. Because no matter what we do with this, it's definitely going out for bid. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
nothing is, this is just Wright Pierce's opinion. I'd love to get Suez's opinion. But again, I'd like to see that prior to a meeting, so none of us are surprised at what comes out of it.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's only fair to Wright Pierce. You've seen theirs, let them see yours.
And I think that's why Suez would like to give the board a presentation on basically their opinions before the meeting with Wright Pierce. That way we're all on the same page.
They can't, it's not something they could publish out and.
I'm sure, like I said, we have a technical writers. I'm sure they could put something together and you know, and submit it to everyone, you know. I don't.
Yeah, have them put an overview if they
Yeah.
could, a synopsis of what, if they could together, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
what I don't want to do is get into a 3-hour meeting and just picking everything apart to the nth degree. So any heads up they can give us, let's say, if they can get us in the next couple of weeks, great, because the sooner the better. We put this one to bed, and once the town meeting is over, figure out where we're going from there. I mean, because we're looking at a heavy chunk of change.
Mhm.
And I'd like to get into some serious grant writing in the meantime.
Okay, I will definitely talk to the technical team.
All right.
Get back to you guys.
Other than that, Walter, there was nothing earth-shattering. The big thing I wanted is to make sure that especially with all that OSHA stuff going on in Boston and with that electrical, I want to make sure that there's not a liability issue for Rockland.
Mhm.
All right, that's all I got on that.
Yeah, we're on that, Chuck, too. So on the, as far as the Wright Pierce study, so, you know, talking with them, that's why, remember we talked about at the last meeting, we were trying to spread out so that CWMP was the article this year for 300 and try to spread out all the engineering over the next 4 to 5 years. you
Yeah,
know.
but I agree with that completely. But you know, honestly, Dave, with the EPA involved, I don't think we're going to have a choice for the CWMP. All that is a document. I think they're going to mandate that we have. All that is a game plan of where we're going to go from here. I think
Yeah.
if they do that everything,
that's
else, like I said, I was shocked that when they said 2 years, I was floored. That blew me away.
Yeah.
All right.
Want to move on to the SSES study or?
Yes,
All right, so we're in, so National Water Main was awarded the subcontract from AECom.
Who was that,
So they-
Dave?
National Water Main.
Okay.
So they've been doing all our flow isolation at night. So the hours are, they come in at 11:30, they get going by 12. We're out of there by 6 o'clock most mornings. We have a couple of the guys down here at the plant. They go in at night, get them going for a few hours, and then I come in and relieve them in the morning. And then just go over the areas that they'll be doing for the week. They're on week 4 right now. Next week will probably be the last week. That'll be week 5. And then once that's done, then they'll start doing the camera work on all the main trunk lines. And then also some of the troubled areas that they've been finding with the flow isolation.
Can I ask a quick question there?
Sure.
Why did AECom want to revisit Pond Street? They did that back in '08. That was the only thing I was confused on.
What is it?
Why did they get down to Pond Street? We did that in '08. Why did they want to go back?
I had them do Pond Street because I was just because I knew just from the highway side, the drainage, like French Road, some of those little side streets, they have been fractured drainage areas, and usually what we've been finding out is where the drainage is pretty bad in infiltration. The sewer is running parallel with that. It's usually the same thing. It's usually in rough shape. I mean, we found some rough manholes down here, but nothing significant on
Because
that.
they did, looking at the past one, they did Turner, French,
Yeah,
right? And I have no idea what Curry Street is down there, but they said Curry. and
Curry,
Pond from
Colby,
the
right.
line down to Hingham. Where is Curry Street?
It's right off of Pond Street. You got Curry, Colby, Wright, Wilson. Those are all off of Pond Street.
I have no idea. Okay.
Yeah. So we were
Right.
just looking to, get that done. That was one night's worth of work. So
Hey, can you get them over to take a look at Butternut, that area near Norman?
yeah, that's done.
How'd they make out?
They came back. Obviously, they're gonna do some more camera work over there on where Butternut is. So obviously, as you go where the drainage dumps out, all the drainage goes over that way in town. So Manzella, Wyman's Field was rough as far as infiltration. Some of the areas off of Summer Street. Some of the worst areas were actually Belmont, Pacific, Division Street, which I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, so those areas were pretty rough too. And then they've been finding some areas that were some small clogs, so we've been going out once a week and having that vacked and jetted those areas out. So we've been finding probably 2 or 3 a week, and then the following week we clean those areas out.
Did they give you an idea when we'd see their summary report with costs and all that for?
Oh, yeah, we're still, like I said, we're in the week
September?
5 next week. They'll finish that up. They probably got 5 or 6 weeks on camera work. And
So we're
then
looking at probably September, October.
I would think, yeah, I mean, this is not something we could have pushed off because of the spring. We had to do it, obviously in March. So
Yeah.
we couldn't wait for the next guy to come in. So it had to be done.
No,
So-
I agree.
Yeah.
with you, John. No.
Yeah, no, it's been interesting to say the least, so.
Hey,
But
they
that's,
didn't get up by Lincoln, did they?
they haven't yet. That's actually for next week. So that wasn't in the original scope, but if you remember, I was talking about taking the Millbrook area off
Yeah.
because that's newer infrastructure. So we'll take that and then we'll go over to Lincoln Forest Street, which on the lower end by Parmenter is all injectors. So, but Lincoln Road, I know we had some issues over at Lincoln and some of that area, Upper Union Street from VFW on. So that is next week.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're also trying to get into Leisure Woods too, but they're hard to get a hold of.
They're pretty new, aren't they? Wouldn't that be considered new?
No, that's about 40 years old, 30 something years old now.
Wow,
Leisure Woods, yeah.
I'm old.
So Millbrook's, a little over 20, 22, 23. French's Crossing's 25, 26. So it goes pretty quick. Yeah, Leisure Woods been there since
Wow.
I was in high school. I was cutting lawns, so that's 30 something years ago now.
Doesn't seem it.
So, yeah. So that would be one of the areas we'd like to get into because I know there have been some issues in the past up there. So,
Who owns that? Hastings?
yeah, that was Hastings Court back then.
Luck.
So that's owned by
Town America.
yeah, Hometown America. That's correct, Walter. So, Yeah, that's pretty much it on the wrap up with that.
Well,
So.
they're moving pretty quick.
Yeah, they are. They're actually doing they're doing a lot of linear feet per night, so they move pretty quick. So we actually need a little bit of rain now, so
Now, do they need a police detail?
they have 2 police deals per night. So what happens is originally we were thinking that, they would do some side streets, but obviously the way the sewer tie-ins are, you're coming off of main trunk lines on main roads, and then they work the side streets. So you'd have to have because there's 2 trucks. There's a guy on one manhole, and then they go up, they block it off, go to the next manhole. So it's
Are we
spread out.
gonna pay that out of the sewer, or is that part of the 300,000?
No, so what I've been doing is I've been taking that out of the general I&I account, so we're not hammering the article money. So where that is true I&I, so that, and then also where we have to go out and back and jet some of the clogged areas that week, I&I as well. So we're keeping that article money, straight for the engineering costs and the assessment,
All right.
so. Yep. Any questions on that, or?
No, I'm cool.
No?
Okay. I'll move on to the superintendent update.
Yeah,
So just the generals, we got a lot of markouts, like I talked about the last meeting. We've had a lot of water main breaks, so we've been marking that out. A lot of construction in town as far as that. So we do all the dig safes for the sewer over here. Grease trap inspections are still early mornings. Those are between 5 to 6:30 in the morning. Sometimes if we have three or four, so I try to do them early before going into the other job. So then, like I said, we touched base on some of the sewer manholes during the AECOM I&I, that we've been going out once a week and finding some, heavy wipes, maybe rags, grease. So we've been identifying those areas with the flow isolation, and then going back 1 day a week and back and jetting those areas out. So we've been finding like doing 3 areas a day. So, and I think that's it. And then as far as I know, we wanted to do an EPA update. So I think I sent you that email out.
Yeah, I didn't know what stuff they asked for. That's the thing that.
Yeah, so it's still preliminary right now. They reached out. I mean, they said somebody called them in regards to.
Yeah, if you remember the
questions.
last meeting, somebody said they were watching.
Right. So they, so like the contact, nothing's really changed since the last email I sent out the commissioners on March 10th. So they reached out a couple weeks. They were looking for, there's a new person in charge of our area. So they were looking for the 2015 to 2020 reports. So we resubmitted those to the new person in charge. And then just the only other thing he asked for at that time was the current 2020 I&I and the town report that we just finished up. So for those. And then he said he would be sending out within the next couple of weeks an RFI, which is a request for information. And then we're on a hold pattern until they send that out. So,
Rick, have you heard anything?
No, nothing at all. Nope,
Nothing from Dave Burns?
nope, very quiet.
All right.
that's about it.
okay, we'll move on to the Suez update. Rick?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Walter. Just following up on that, Chuck, Dave did send me an email, and I do believe it was a few weeks ago. I think they're actually waiting for the board to hire a superintendent before they come down here. I mean, he just shot me an email just out of the blue saying, hey, asking me if the board had hired a superintendent. And I said, no, that was still an ongoing project. So I'm sure once everything gets settled, you'll probably see them down here. Okay, so with that being said, digester boiler, I know I talked about it last month regarding Hallam engineering firm. They finally got the approval from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts about the UL issue that they have with the boiler. So they told me, actually told Ed the other day that the proposal should be ready to go by mid-April. So at that point, we should be able to put it together with the town's letterhead and get it out for a project to be bid on.
And that was 30 grand, right?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I definitely want to talk to you guys, you know, because with what they said, what Wright Pierce said in that boiler, I wasn't ready for, you know, it's
Okay.
on the digester rather, excuse me. But I should have expected it. But I didn't.
The other item we ordered the pumps. We finally got the quotes from since the last meeting. So we just recently ordered the backup pump for Hingham Street South. So again, unfortunately, it's like 16 to 20 weeks. I mean, it's crazy how long it takes. Yeah, that's what it is, 4 to 5 months. We just gave him a PO, 4 to 5 months. We gave him a PO yesterday. So
For a pump?
hopefully we have no other issues with the 2 pumps that are in the.
Oh, you know what? They're probably doing that same thing everyone else is now, trying to get everyone caught up. And
Yeah, they're actually building them per order. There's no such thing anymore as having pumps on shelves, you know, just due to inventory. The other thing I had, butternut. So Dave and I have been talking about butternut, and we've talked about butternut, how old the station is. And so Ed and I have been working on getting quotes. It's been challenging to say the least, but we're working on an engineering quote to actually take that, turn that into an injector, from an injector station to a couple of pumps down in the bottom. So we're working on it. We're getting close. We got a few more bids. I actually had a company come in today regarding we'll remove everything from the tank, from the actual can, and putting like a coating on it that's waterproof. And I found out today that actually the company that today's quote from actually works with Suez. And that was something I really didn't know. So we're hoping we're going to get a good quote back from them.
how does that work, Rick? Dave, do we have to do, like, well, that's going to be over $50,000. So would we have to do an RFI or RFQ, or how does it work?
There's a couple different ways we can do procurement, like we were talking about. So, you know, talking with Rick, obviously the structure itself can fall under I&I because that's all our infiltration. So we can use some I&I funds. We can also split that up with some R&M money. And then also the sewer plant can also buy the equipment and the mechanicals directly themselves. So we can, you know, we could split that up. In the engineering, we do have money for the engineering for that put aside. That was actually an article from last year for those stations.
But under our contract, wouldn't Suez do the engineering on that as part of the deal, or?
Well,
No, you know, I'm not trying to slough anything off.
yeah, they don't
trying to figure out how
have
that
to.
goes.
I mean, Rick's just been doing this because he had some contacts, and we were trying to get some preliminary numbers together where this has been an issue over at that station. So I think it can be broken up so, you know, the procurement aspects of it can be handled correctly. Like I said before, I mean, eventually, you know, if you have a small developer and a developer's over in one of those areas, you can make the developer, you know, pay some of those fees for that. You have some R&M. And as long as we make that structure or the can, as Rick was referring to, you know, watertight, you know, that would fall under our I&I specs. So you could split it up and be pretty diverse on how you pay for that.
Okay.
So, but we'd be reaching out to, you know, Elizabeth, make sure all the procurement practices were correct and moving forward. So.
That's correct. Yep. So like I said, I'm working on that. And as we get the bids in, I'll keep, or the quotes in, I'll keep the board up to speed on that. And I'm hopeful that the way it's working right now, I'm hopefully that we can probably get this thing done sometime in the summer. I mean, that's my goal, talking to Dave. And I think there's a way to, I think there'll be a way to get it actually done. Last issue. Oh, actually, I had an issue just prior to this call. Ed and I were actually on a call with National Grid, and Ed's been working on this. It's actually energy that he's been working on with National Grid for the past 2 years, and we finally got down to meet with National Grid. In fact, one of the gentlemen, I think he's worked with Doug Lapp. I forget his name off the top of my head. Mike Skinner. I'm not sure if you've heard of him or not, Dave, but yeah. He works with municipalities. And so we explained the aeration system to them and about the potential upgrade coming down the road. And they were really very proactive on today's call. Actually even saying to the point that, we could probably, start this project a little bit early, and there was going to be quite a bit of incentives. So again, that's what we're looking for, this overall upgrade that we have to do. And there's a formula, and we got some people working on it with National Grid and an outside organization. And after the call today, I was very hopeful that some of this cost of this upgrade that we're going to come down the road, it's going to be paid for by National Grid, because the biggest thing that what they liked from our presentation today was 50% of our energy here at the facility is with our aeration system. And I'll tell you, once they heard that and the new technologies out there, they talked about, this would be basically new construction versus retrofitting. And they definitely thought that this would be a new construction because, number one, how we explained it to them was the current aerators back there are 35 years old. They run 24 hours a day, 365. I told them they don't take a break. And the technology today is newer and better. And they agreed. As a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen that was on the call strictly works with water and wastewater facilities. So he knew exactly where the town was coming from. So again, once we get down to this point, the new superintendent, I think I'm hopeful that, a lot of this upgrade is going to be, be paid for.
And that's one of the big things on that CWMP too. I'm focusing on that 0%. That would be, and hopefully there's a ton of grant money out there with this new administration.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right, Chuck. And like I said, National Grids, if you can save energy and prove to them, show the savings through the kilowatt hours, they are willing to say, to basically fund a percentage of the project. So again, that was a very good, positive phone call today.
Can we bounce back to the pump stations? We talked last week about butternut and spruce. You're going to table spruce for a while, or?
Yes, because right now butternut's probably it needs more work than spruce right now.
No, it's your call. I'm just curious whether you backburned that completely or.
Yeah, like I said, I like to get butternut done, and then whatever we do on butternut would be identical to spruce. So
now, is butternut like spruce? It's just the hole, the tunnel? Yep.
They're identical stations. So like I said, the problem we're having at butternut is it's finding the equipment. The current equipment, it's just not there, and like I said to you guys before, we're putting Band-Aids on these little pump stations.
Yeah, I know.
There's we can't retrofit it anymore. The only way to retrofit it is literally gut it and put a brand new station there.
Hey, we open up a machine shop.
There you go.
Yeah, on that too, Chuck. So we were talking with Rick. We were trying to see if we could get that done within 2 years, those two stations.
All right. Yeah,
so it can work with the general funding that we have. So.
Yep. All right. As your contract operator, that would be great. Last time I have is no as far as personnel, no Suez personnel issues to report.
What are you doing with COVID now, Rick?
We're still, in fact, Dave was very helpful today. Half my staff right now has been vaccinated or is in the process of getting their first vaccine.
Wow.
So in the meantime, what we're doing, Chuck, we're doing, everywhere staying away 6 feet, wearing masks. And even if you get the vaccine, Suez policy is you got to still continue to follow the Suez protocol.
Yeah, I think the mask thing here to stay for good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wish we could, remove them, but we can't. So that's all.
As long as I don't forget them and have to go up 50 flights of stairs to go back and get it.
I know. That's all I have, Walter.
Thank you, Rick. And last on the agenda, the superintendent candidate vote.
How do you feel, Walter?
Well, I haven't changed my mind, really. So,
Neither do I. So we might as well table that to next month, after the election.
Right.
All right.
Maybe there'll be 3 on the
All
board
right.
by then.
Right after the election. We'll schedule a meeting for the Tuesday after.
I think it's only.
Any update on Ronnie?
Pardon?
Any update on Ronnie?
No, I haven't heard from Ron. Probably I think the last time I talked to him was about 2.5 weeks ago.
All right. All right, so the election's the 10th. We'll table that for the 13th, Tuesday the 13th. Make a motion, we close the meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay,
All
one
in
quick
favor?
question.
Excuse me, before you close the meeting, do you want to vote on tabling the superintendent
Oh, okay,
candidate?
because
Oh,
Rick, don't go away. I got one quick question for you. I'll make a motion, we table that till Tuesday, the 13th.
Yeah, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Rick, going back to the digester, all right? Should we, what can we do? Until right, Pierre, let's say till we come up, I guess it's gonna be the superintendent, you and Ed, come up with a game plan for that digester. You're not pulling any triggers on $30,000 as yet, are you?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
You're not gonna pull the trigger on any $30,000 outlay on the digester until we come to some kind of agreement.
Right, that's correct. So
Because I really, no matter what they said, or Wright Pierce says, I really would like to sit down with you and Ed and talk about that subject, because
yeah, absolutely.
that kind of took me by surprise.
Right, absolutely. So basically, once Hallam gives us the final report, let's call it, then we'll put it out to bid. I've talked to Dave, we'll put it out to bid, and then we'll see what the cost we don't have to do anything.
Well, wait a minute, I don't know if, Walter, did you read that, what they said? On that report, Wright Pierce? They want us to
Pardon?
basically abandon the digesters.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's something we'll definitely talk about further down the road. Even today's call, like with National Grid, when Ed and I brought that up to him,
That's awesome.
he even thought it was a crazy idea.
Well, I just
So-
look at all the money was spent in them over the years, and then you look out that window and I see 4 substantial assets, and
Right.
how are they going to just say, let them sit there?
Yeah. No, like I said, there's a little bit more work to be done in the digester, but my opinion, and even Suez's opinion at this point, is we've already gone this far. Why are we going to just?
No, I'm in a complete agreement with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, before you pull the trigger on $30,000,
Right.
let's talk about it. But even no matter what happens, I don't see anything taking place in Rockland for 3 to 4 years.
True.
We just don't have the money.
Right.
All right, that's all I got. I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah,
All right.
make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?